Hello beautiful, welcome to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Chisom. On this channel I share sewing tutorial videos and fashion related content. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button, turn on notification bell, like this video you're about to watch, and share it with your friends and family. On today's video, we'll be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful 12 pieces gown with puff sleeve and inseam finish. This gown has 6 pieces in front and 6 pieces at the back, making altogether 12 pieces. If you're interested in learning how to make something like this, get your 6 yards of Ankara fabric and let's dive straight into the tutorial. So right here on the pattern, I have made my marks already. I have my shoulder line, my chest line, my bust point, my under bust, my waistline, my hips line, and the full length of the dress, which is 41 inches. First things first, on the shoulder line I'll mark out half of my shoulder measurement, and on that point I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder drop. And on the chest line I'll also mark half of my shoulder measurement, and I am going to connect that point to meet the shoulder drop line. From the center on the shoulder line I'll come in by 3 inches, and I'm going to connect that point to meet the shoulder line. On the chest line I'll mark out my bust circumference divide by 4. I'll measure what I have left on the armhole line and I'll get the midpoint, and on that midpoint I'll come in by 0.75 inches for the front armhole curving. Then I'll use my armhole curve to connect the points. For the front neck width, I'll come in by 3 inches from the shoulder, and then I'll go down by 5 inches for the neck depth, and on that 5 inches point I'll go in by 5 inches, and I am going to create like a square shape with straight lines. I'll smoothen the pointy edge with a smooth curve, and that's it for the front neckline. On the waistline, I'll put waist measurement divide by 4 plus that allowance, and on the hip line I'll put hip measurement divide by 4, and I'm going to connect the points from the hip to meet the waist, from the waist to meet the chest line. And what I have on the hip line, I'll take it straight down to the full length of the pattern. Next, I'll mark half of my nipple to nipple measurement on the bust point, and I'll take it all the way to the full length of the pattern. On the waistline, I'll take my dart on both sides of the dart leg, and on the hip line I'll come up by 2 inches. Then I'll extend the dart leg from the waist to the 2 inches point, then from the waist to the bust point. Next, I'll take my side dart, the difference between the front and the back from the bust point line. Then I'll connect it to the nipple point. For the princess dart, I'll place my curve in such a way it touches the nipple point and the mid armhole point. I'm using the slight curve for this. Don't use a very curvy part to avoid having a funny shape. Okay, so I'll connect from the mid armhole to the bust point. You can see the part I'm using. Now I'll tighten the armhole by 1.5 inches. This is completely optional. Okay, from the mid armhole I came down by 1.5 inches, and I am going to reconnect it into the bust point again with my curve ruler. This time I will extend the line when I am connecting it, so I'll replace the 1.5 inches on that extended line. Okay, so from that point I'll go up by 1.5 inches, which is the same figure I tightened the armhole with, and then I'll connect it back to the armhole. What is left is to tighten the underbust. So on the underbust area, I'll measure what I have there, so I'll know the excess I'll be taking out. Now I'll distribute it evenly on both sides of the dart leg. Then connect to the bust point and down to the waistline, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to be dividing the pattern into three pieces using the nipple point as one piece. Now from the side to the middle, I'm going to be sharing it into two. So I'll measure what I have on that side and divide it into two. I'm going to connect from that point to this armhole line that extends into the pattern. Okay, I'll just extend it, or you can simply extend it upwards as the case may be. We just want to share this pattern into three, and that is what I am trying to do now. So just go ahead and do exactly as I have done, and now we have our front pattern in three pieces. I'll cut out the pattern now before we move to the back pattern. Please ensure you label your patterns to avoid misplacing or mixing it up, especially with the back pattern. I labeled mine front 1, front 2 and front 3 just to differentiate each of them. Please do not forget to close the side dart before cutting it out. So I closed mine and taped it with masking tape, then blended the side before I went ahead to cut out. After taping the sides, the initial line I made is no longer straight, so I used my ruler to just take it all the way up, and I will cut out this pattern into two following the mark I have right here. So right now I have three pieces for the front. I'll take this aside so we'll draft the back pattern. So here is the pattern for the back. I have my marks already. Now the first thing I'll do is to tighten my back waistline with 1 inch. On the waistline, I'll come in by 1 inch from the center and I'll take it up and down. Now I'll mark out half of my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line and on the chest line. Then on the shoulder line, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder drop and I'll connect from that 1 inch drop to the chest line. On the neck area, I'll come in by 3 inches and then I'll connect the shoulder drop to the 3 inches point. I'll get my front pattern and place shoulder to shoulder for the back pattern just to get accurate neck width for the front and the back pattern. Now for the neck depth for the back, I'll use 1 inch and I'll connect the neck width point to the neck depth. I'll get the midpoint on the armhole line, go in by ½ inch and then curve out my armhole. I'll divide my bust by 4 and mark my waist by 4 and my hips by 4. Then I'll connect the points to form the side shape. Next, I'll mark half of my nipple to nipple measurement 1 inch below the chest line and I'll take it all the way to the end of the pattern. I'll take my dart on the waistline. Then I'm going to connect it 2 inches before the hip line and up to the chest line. Now I'm going to connect from the dart points to the mid armhole to form the back princess dart. I extended the mid armhole dart by 0.5 inches, then I recurved my armhole just like I am doing right now. Next, I'll be dividing this pattern into three. The first part being the dart line, and then the second and the third, I'll be dividing what I have from the side of the pattern to the middle into two, all the way from the top to the bottom, and that will give us three pieces for the back pattern as well as we have it on the front pattern. After dividing, then I'll go ahead and cut out. So these are the 3 back pieces. Okay, now remember, these pieces are going to be cut two, or each of them is going to be cut in two, meaning we'll have 6 pieces for the front and 6 pieces for the back after cutting on fabric. Now we are going to be extending the flay on the fabric. So this is how I place the pattern on the fabric. Okay, this is the center front. So now if you don't want to have extension at the center front, you can go ahead and shift it towards the folded part, so the center front is going to be on fold. But I want to have an extension, that is why the center front is going to be cut open. Okay, to make it six pieces in front, 6 pieces in back. That will give us the 12 pieces. All right, so now here I left a space of 5.5 inches. Here as well, I left a space more than 5.5 inches. This is because I want to be adding 5 inches extension to this and ½ inch for joining allowance. Okay, so from this point I'll connect it to the waistline. Now you can also take it to your bust point or even the chest line. Okay, this totally depends on where you want your flay to stop or to start, but for this style we are making now, it is stopping on the waistline. Okay, so I'm going to extend the hem by 5.5 and I'll connect that 5.5 to the waistline. My 5.5 is there. If you want more volume and you're sure you have enough fabric, you can extend this as much as 10 inches. That is if you want more volume. Okay, so for me, I have just 6 years of Ankara fabric and I would want to manage it. All right, so I have extended it to the waistline. Okay, now on this point I will go up by 1 inch. This is to avoid this part to be sharp. Okay, so we are going to curve it out by 1 inch. So I'll come up by 1 inch and I'll curve it into this other part like this. Okay, so that is it right there. Here as well I will extend 5.5, which is exactly what I have here. So I'll connect these points to meet the waistline. Let me extend the line. Okay, this is it. I'm going to also come up by 1 inch and curve it out so it will not be pointy. Okay, at the lower part I just connected it. Okay, I just connected it like this to blend everything. Okay, at the waist I'll add ½ inch for joining, because we are going to be joining everything, so I'll add ½ inch all around. ½ inch for joining to the next part, so I'll add ½ inch. Now I'm done adding the joining allowance. I'll cut it out so I'll be able to fold and mark out for the next one. So I folded the second one. I just had to bring it up this side so you'll be able to see it properly. Okay, so this is me extending the hemline. All right, I'll extend it like this. I'll measure out 5.5 inches from here and mark. Measure 5.5 inches from this other side and mark it here. I'll first add half inch allowance all around up to the waistline. Okay, I'll add ½ inch up to the waistline. So I've added ½ inch allowance round here. Now I'll go ahead and connect this extension to the waistline and this side as well to the waistline. So to avoid sharp edge here, I'll come up by 1 inch, so I'll curve it into the hemline. 1 inch. I'll do the same thing for this side. This is basically how I'm going to be extending all the 6 pieces, okay? Remember, please remember that the fabric is on fold, so each piece is going to be 2, all right? So take note of that. Now I've cut out all of them. You can see these are what the back pieces look like. These are the 3 pieces for the back. For each pattern I have 2 pieces, so altogether for the back I have 6 pieces. Let me take away the back pieces so you see them properly. This is front 1, front 2, so front 3 is the side, front 2 is the middle, while front 1 is the center. Okay, so these are all of them. Reduce the pattern paper by 1 inch at the down part. I'll reduce all the patterns, I'll reduce them by 1 inch on the lower part, so I'll use the pattern to cut it out on the lining, okay, because the lining is going to be 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that off camera before we go into the sewing process. So now I'll go and join the pieces together. I will join front 2 to front 1, and I'll join front 3 to front 2. Just join each part according to where they were cut out from. Okay, so just join each part to where they were cut out from. I'll join them with 1/2 inch because it's 1/2 inch allowance I added for joining. Okay, after joining the front, I'll join the back together. This is the back, the center back. Okay, see the center back I added 1 inch for zipper allowance. So I'm joining this part to this part. This is the second part of the back side, and this is the side back. The side back is here, so I'm joining this side to this side for the back. Okay, so I'll go and join them, and the same way I'm going to join the fabrics is the same way I'm going to join the lining. Okay, join the fabrics separately, join the lining separately. So after joining the pieces together, this is what is looking like. This is the front. I have all the pieces joined here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 pieces on the front, and here are the back pieces. The back is into 2 because of the zipper that is going to be at the center. So these are the fashion fabric. I also joined the lining pieces as well. So these are the 2 back pieces for the lining. So the same way I joined the fabric is still the same way I joined the lining. This is the front. I'll take this aside. Now to cut the pockets, I'm going to be joining these back pieces together. I'll join the 2 back pieces to meet at the side. I'm going to pin it down. After aligning the back, I will get the front as well, and I will align them at the side. Make sure the sides are well aligned. Okay, so I'll pin it as well. Make sure they are meeting at the armhole, or should I say at the sides. I just want it to be uniform like this. Okay, So from the shoulder, I'll come down 18 inches and I'm going to notch that place. I'll make sure I notch the 4 pieces together. Okay, so this is the 18 inches point. I will make a little notch. Make sure you're notching all of them the same time. Now this is where the pocket is going to start. Okay, so this is where the pocket is going to start. So I'll just place the pocket back inside a little bit. I'll push it inwards a little bit from that 18 inches point, and I am going to trace it out. I'm going to trace out this shape on the pocket bags. Remember, this is supposed to be 4 pieces. So next thing to do, because it's my hand that is going to be in the pocket, I'll simply just place my hand like this. So I'll curve this out. I'll trim it off. I'm going to distribute it on each side of the fabric. You can see it's matching on the side very well. That is the reason you have to use it and trace out the side. Okay, now this one is here. Another one will be here. Find the knot part. Take one piece and place. I'll run a stitch of about 1/4 to 1/2 inch on all the sides just to secure the pocket bag on the fabric. Okay, I have stitched down the pocket. After stitching, I flipped it to the other side and top stitch. When you're top stitching, make sure your top stitch falls towards the pocket side. Okay, so this is one side and this is the other side. So now I'll place the back on the front side by side. This is one side. So you see that they are going to meet on the side like this. Okay, so I'll stitch the shoulders first, shoulder to shoulder, then I'll now stitch the sides. I'll stitch from up like this. When I get to the pocket side, I'll divert into the pocket area and sew round it, come out and continue all the way down. Okay, I'm not putting any pockets on the lining, please. It's only on this fabric that I'm putting the pocket. Okay, so I'll go ahead and stitch close the sides and the shoulder for both the fabric and the lining, and I'll be right back. All right, I've joined the sides together and this is the outcome. I have my fabric here and I have the lining piece as well. The next thing I'm going to do is to install the zipper. I will install the zipper before I use the lining to turn the fabric. Alright guys, I have installed my zipper and it's sitting pretty right here. This is the lining. I'm going to be turning the neckline. So I'll place the lining, the right side on the right side of the dress, right side of the lining to right side. This is from the center back. Okay, I opened the zipper and I placed it from the center back. I am going to stitch it from the center back all through to the front neckline, towards the shoulder and to this other side. Right now I've turned the neckline with the lining, and I also trimmed off the excess so that place can lay flat. This is the wrong side. This is what the inside is looking like. Now when you turn it over to the right side, this is what it will look like. Okay, so this is how the inside will be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this lining down. I'll drag it down like this, and I'm going to use it to close. I'm going to close the zipper allowance side with this lining, okay, like this. So just drag it down like this from the end and sew it all the way to the top. So I'll close this side and close the other side as well to give the zipper area a neat finishing. After turning the zipper side with the lining, this is the outcome. So this is what the inside is looking like, and this is the outside. Okay, now the next thing I'll do is to turn the lower part with the lining as well. I'll just take one side and flip it like this, match it right side to right side, and sew all the way round. Okay, afterwards I'll turn it inside out as well, so the lower part will be properly finished, just like the neckline area. I've turned the lower part with the lining and I went ahead to press it down. This is the outcome. You can see how neatly finished the inside is. After sewing it round with the lining, you just bring everything out from the armhole. Okay, you bring everything out from the armhole and then iron to lay flat. So this is the stage I am right now. The next and final stage is to cut the sleeve and fix it. So I'm going to show you now how I briefly sketched out a little puffy sleeve. Alright, for the sleeve I'm going to be drafting it with freehand pattern. There is a different method you can use to draft the sleeve. You can do slash and spread of your normal basic sleeve, but for this one I am just going to be drafting it directly on the fabric. Here I have 23 inches width and the length is 13 inches. Okay, the width is 23, the length is 13. Okay, so now I'll come this side. This side I'll go down by 6 inches. I'll go down by 6 inches, and I'm going to connect it, curve it towards this side with my free hand. I'll just curve it like this, it into the side like this. I'll just cut it out now. For this upper part, I'll run a gather stitch on this upper part. I'll run a gather stitch from here to the other end, so I'll gather it to fit my armhole area. And then for this side, I'll fold it in and fold it again to create a channel for an elastic that I will be putting inside. Okay, so I'll go ahead and gather it now, then I'll create the channel for the elastic. So these are the sleeves. I've gathered them at the armhole area. So this is the side that will be attached around the armhole area. I measured the armhole area and I used the figure I got to gather this side. Okay, now this is the elastic I'll be fixing inside the space I created for it. I'll simply use my safety pin and poke through it and then pass it inside, and then I'll drag it all the way to the end of the other side. So I've gotten to the end. I'll stitch the elastic together with the fabric and stitch the elastic together with the fabric on the both sides. Then I'll cover it up, then I'll attach it on the dress and I'll show you guys the final look of the dress. Of course you have already seen the final look, but I will still show you after I have attached the sleeve. So guys, here is the final look of the dress on my mannequin. You can tell that this gown is really beautiful and is almost perfect for every occasion. Okay, thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If this video was helpful to you, kindly give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're yet to subscribe, hit on the notification bell. Please like this video so it will get to more people to watch and like. Thank you.